My husband told me he got a vasectomy 5 years ago, and I've been living my life thinking we couldn't have biological children while secretly hoping for a miracle baby. But last week I found medical records showing he never actually got the procedure and has been lying to me for half a decade while I've been tracking my cycle and timing intimacy around ovulation, trying to beat impossible odds that were never actually impossible. He told me when we first got married that he'd gotten snipped in his early 20s before we met because he never wanted kids, and I accepted it even though I desperately wanted children because I loved him and thought maybe we'd adopt someday, or I'd make peace with being childless. Now I'm sitting here realizing that every month I've hoped for a positive pregnancy test. Every time I've cried when my period came, every conversation we've had about maybe looking into expensive fertility treatments or adoption has been based on a complete lie, and he's been actively preventing pregnancy through other means while letting me believe his vasectomy was the reason we were childless. I confronted him 2 days ago, and he admitted he's been secretly using condoms when I'm asleep or getting up to use the bathroom during sex to finish elsewhere because he still doesn't want kids, but was afraid I'd leave him if I knew the truth. So he's been letting me live in false hope for 5 entire years. The marriage agreement. I met Daniel when I was 27. He was 32, successful architect, charming, intelligent, made me laugh. We had incredible chemistry. He was everything I'd been looking for. We dated for a year before he proposed. Everything was perfect except for one thing. He didn't want children. He told me on our third date, "I need to be upfront about something. I got a vasectomy when I was 24. I don't want kids. I never have. If that's a deal breaker for you, I understand, but I'd rather know now than waste your time." I was devastated. I'd always wanted to be a mother. I'd imagined having at least 2 kids, maybe 3. A house full of noise and chaos and love. But I was falling for Daniel. Hard. "Can I ask why you got a vasectomy so young?" I asked. I watched my parents struggle. They had 4 kids they couldn't afford. We grew up poor, stressed. My parents resented each other and resented us. I decided when I was a teenager that I'd never put myself or a partner through that. When I was 24 and had good health insurance through my first real job, I got snipped. Best decision I ever made. It made sense. It was his body, his choice. I couldn't fault him for knowing what he wanted and taking permanent action. "What about adoption?" I asked. "Would you ever consider that?" "Maybe. Someday. If we were really financially stable and felt ready. But I'm not promising anything. I'm happy with it being just us." I thought about it for weeks. Could I be with someone who didn't want children? Could I give up that dream? In the end, I decided he was worth it. We were worth it. Maybe I'd make peace with being childless. Maybe we'd adopt later. Maybe loving him would be enough. We got married when I was 29. Small ceremony, just family and close friends. I walked down the aisle toward the man I loved, trying not to think about the children we'd never have. The secret hope. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. After the wedding, I found myself obsessing over pregnancy stories. Women who'd gotten pregnant after their partners had vasectomies. Miracle babies conceived despite the odds. Vasectomy failure rates. I researched constantly. Learned that vasectomies aren't 100% effective. That sometimes the vas deferens can reconnect spontaneously. That the failure rate is low, but not zero. About 1 in 2,000 vasectomies fail after the first year. It was a tiny chance. Basically impossible. But not completely impossible. And that tiny sliver of possibility consumed me. I started tracking my cycle. Downloaded ovulation apps. Took my basal body temperature every morning. Monitored my cervical mucus. Identified my fertile window with scientific precision. I didn't tell Daniel what I was doing. He thought I was tracking my cycle for general health reasons, to predict my period, to understand my body better. Really, I was trying to maximize our chances of conceiving a miracle baby. I initiated sex during my fertile windows. Made sure we were intimate on my peak ovulation days. Timed everything perfectly. And every month, when my period came, I cried. Daniel would find me in the bathroom, tears streaming down my face, and he'd hold me. "What's wrong?" he'd ask. "Just hormones," I'd lie. "PMS."
He believed me.
Why wouldn't he? He thought pregnancy was impossible for us. But it wasn't just PMS. It was grief. Mourning the child I wanted but couldn't have. Mourning the tiny hope that died every month when I saw blood instead of a positive test. This went on for 5 years. 5 years of secret hope and monthly disappointment. 5 years of timing sex around ovulation while pretending it was spontaneous. 5 years of researching vasectomy failures and miracle pregnancies. 5 years of living in a fantasy where the impossible might happen. Last week, I was cleaning Daniel's home office. He's usually particular about his space, but he'd been swamped with work and the office was a mess. I was organizing papers, filing documents, trying to help. That's when I found the folder. It was labeled medical records and was tucked in the back of his filing cabinet. I opened it looking for health insurance information. Inside were records from his primary care physician, appointment notes, test results, vaccination records. Nothing about a vasectomy. I frowned.
Weird.
Maybe he kept that paperwork separately? I kept looking through the files. Found records going back to when he was 22. Doctor's visits for flu, strep throat, a sports injury, routine physicals. No vasectomy. I checked the dates carefully. He said he got it when he was 24. According to these records, he'd only been to the doctor twice that year, once for an ear infection, once for his annual physical. No surgery. No follow-up appointments. No sperm analysis to confirm the procedure worked. My hands started shaking. I pulled out my phone and started searching. What paperwork would you have from a vasectomy? There would be consent forms, surgical notes, post-op instructions, follow-up appointments, sperm analysis results. There was nothing. I went through every file in that cabinet. Nothing. I checked his email. I know his password. We have open access to each other's accounts for household management reasons. Searched for vasectomy, urology, surgery, anything related. Nothing. I checked our credit card statements going back years. No charges to urology offices or surgical centers. I checked our insurance claims history online. No records of any procedures. Daniel never had a vasectomy.
He lied.
For 5 years, he'd been lying. The confrontation. I waited until Daniel got home from work. I was sitting at the kitchen table with the medical records folder in front of me. "Hey babe," he said, kissing my forehead. "What's for dinner? We need to talk." Something in my voice made him stop. "What's wrong?" I pushed the folder across the table. "When did you say you got your vasectomy?" His face went pale.
What?
"Your vasectomy. The one you told me you got when you were 24. When exactly did that happen?" "Why are you asking?" "Because I was organizing your office and I found your medical records. And there's no record of any vasectomy. No surgery. No follow-up appointments. Nothing." He sat down slowly. "Sophie, did you or did you not get a vasectomy?" Long silence.
No.
The word hit me like a physical blow.
No.
I didn't get one. I lied. You lied? For 5 years you've been lying to me. I can explain. Explain? Explain? Daniel, I've spent 5 years thinking we couldn't have children. I've spent 5 years mourning babies we'd never have. I've made peace with being childless because of you. I know, I'm sorry.
Why?
Why would you lie about something like that? He put his head in his hands. Because I knew you wanted kids. And I knew if I just told you I didn't want them, you might leave me. But if I told you I was physically unable to have them, you'd accept it. You couldn't be mad at me for a medical condition. So, you invented a medical condition? I made a choice when I was younger, and I didn't want to have that choice questioned or challenged. A vasectomy seemed final, inarguable. You made me believe we were biologically incapable of having children. I know. Do you have any idea what you've put me through? I didn't think. I've been tracking my ovulation, Daniel, for years. Did you know that? I've been secretly hoping for a miracle pregnancy, hoping your vasectomy would somehow fail. Timing sex around my fertile window, crying every month when my period came. And the whole time, it was never impossible. You just didn't want it. His head snapped up.
Wait, what?
I've been trying to get pregnant. For 5 years. Trying to beat odds I thought were impossible.
But how?
I've been careful. And that's when it clicked. What do you mean you've been careful? He looked sick. Daniel, what do you mean you've been careful? I've been using protection. When you weren't aware. When I wasn't aware. What the fuck does that mean? Sometimes during sex I'd pull out. Make up an excuse. Say I needed to use the bathroom. Or I'd wait until you fell asleep and then finish separately. I felt like I was going to throw up. You've been faking it? Not always.
But during your fertile window, yeah.
I could tell when you were ovulating. Your behavior changed. You'd initiate more. So, I'd be extra careful during those times. You knew I was trying to get pregnant? I figured it out after the first year or so. But I couldn't say anything because then you'd know the vasectomy wasn't real. So you just let me keep trying? Let me keep hoping? Let me keep being disappointed every month. I thought eventually you'd give up. Except that it wasn't going to happen. I've wasted 5 years of my life. You haven't wasted anything. Yes, I have. I'm 34 years old, Daniel. I wanted to be a mom by now. I could have left you 5 years ago and found someone who actually wanted children. I could have my own kids by now. You still love me. I love the person I thought you were. The person who was honest with me. The person who had a medical condition we had to work around. Not the person who's been actively deceiving me and sabotaging any chance of pregnancy while letting me blame a surgery that never happened. I stood up, grabbed my purse and keys. Where are you going? He asked. Away from you. I can't even look at you right now. I left, drove to my sister's house, cried for 3 hours while she held me and called Daniel every name in the book. The aftermath. That was a week ago. I've been staying with my sister. Daniel has called and texted constantly, apologizing, begging me to come home so we can talk. I finally agreed to talk yesterday. We met at a coffee shop. Neutral territory. He looked terrible, like he hadn't slept in days. I'm so sorry, he started. I know that's not enough. I know I've destroyed your trust. But I need you to know I never meant to hurt you. But you did hurt me. Profoundly. I know. And I hate myself for it. I've been thinking a lot this week. About why I lied. About what I was afraid of. I'm listening. I grew up poor. Really poor. My parents had 4 kids they couldn't afford to feed. We wore secondhand clothes. We ate the cheapest food. My parents fought constantly about money. My dad worked 2 jobs and was never home. My mom was exhausted and resentful, and they took it out on us kids. Not physically, but emotionally. We knew we were burdens. We knew they regretted having us. He paused, tears in his eyes. I swore I'd never do that to a child. I'd never bring a kid into the world unless I was 100% sure I could give them everything they needed. And I've never felt that certainty. Even now, with a good job and financial stability, I'm terrified of becoming my father, of resenting my kids, of failing them. Daniel, that's trauma. That's something you should work through in therapy, not something you solve by lying to your wife for 5 years. I know. You're right. I should have been honest from the start. I should have said I don't want kids because I'm terrified I'll fuck them up like my parents fucked me up. But that felt too vulnerable, too raw. So I invented the vasectomy. And then you kept lying. For years. Even after we were married. Even after I'd committed my life to you. I was in too deep. I didn't know how to come clean without losing you. So, instead you just kept letting me believe a lie?
Yes.
And that was wrong. I know that now. We sat in silence. Here's what I can't get past, I said finally. It's not just that you lied about the vasectomy. It's that you knew I was trying to get pregnant. You knew I was hoping for a miracle. And you let me keep hoping while actively preventing it from happening. That's not just deception. That's cruelty. You're right. Do you have any idea how many times I've cried over this? How many pregnancy tests I've taken? How many times I've gotten my hopes up just to have them crushed? I can't imagine. And the worst part is that you had a choice. You could have just been honest. You could have said, I don't want kids, and I'm not going to have kids with you. And I could have made an informed decision about our relationship. But you took that choice away from me. You let me waste 5 years of my fertility window on someone who was never going to give me what I wanted. I know. And I can never make that right. But Sophie, I love you. I don't want to lose you. I don't know if love is enough. You broke something fundamental between us.
Trust. Honesty. Partnership.
I don't know if we can come back from this. Can we try? Can we go to therapy? I don't know. I need time to think. The impossible choice. It's been 2 weeks now. I'm still at my sister's place. Still trying to figure out what I want. Part of me wants to leave Daniel, to divorce him and find someone who actually wants children while I still have time. I'm 34. If I leave now, I could potentially meet someone, build a relationship, and still have a baby before my late 30s. But part of me still loves him. Still remembers the man I fell in love with. Still wants to believe we can work through this. I called a therapist. We've had 2 sessions so far. She's been helpful in unpacking everything. The question you need to ask yourself, she said in our last session, is whether you can forgive him. Not right now, but eventually. Can you imagine a future where you trust him again? I don't know. And the second question, even if you can forgive him, is a childless life with Daniel better than the possibility of having children with someone else? That's the impossible choice, isn't it? I made peace with being childless once, when I thought it was a medical impossibility, when I thought it was just bad luck. Can I make peace with it again, knowing it's a choice? Knowing Daniel chose himself over my dreams? Knowing he lied to make that choice easier? I don't know. My sister thinks I should leave. He lied to you for 5 years. He let you suffer. He doesn't deserve another chance. My mom thinks we should try therapy. Marriage is hard. People make mistakes. If you still love him, it's worth trying to work through it. My best friend thinks I should take more time. Don't make any permanent decisions while you're this emotional. Give yourself space to process. They're all probably right. The revelation. Last night, Daniel showed up at my sister's house. She tried to turn him away, but I said it was okay. We went for a walk. I scheduled a vasectomy, he said.
What?
I have an appointment next month. I'm actually getting one. For real this time. Why are you telling me this? Because I need to prove to you that I'm serious. That I'm not going to keep lying. If I don't want kids, I should actually take permanent steps to prevent it. Not lie and half-ass it and make you carry the burden of uncertainty. Daniel. And I started therapy. Not couples therapy, individual therapy. I'm working through my childhood trauma. Figuring out why I'm so terrified of fatherhood. Why I lied instead of being honest. That's good. And I want to give you a choice. A real choice this time. What do you mean? If you want children and you can't have them with me, then I won't stand in your way. If you want a divorce so you can find someone who wants kids, I'll support that. I'll make it easy. You can have whatever you want from our assets. I just want you to be happy. Even if that means losing you? Even then. I love you enough to let you go if staying with me means giving up your dreams. We walked in silence for a while. What if I want to stay? I asked quietly. What if I choose you over kids? Then I'll spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret that choice. I'll be the best husband I can be. I'll be honest, always. No more lies, big or small. And if you ever change your mind, if you ever resent me for this choice, I'll understand. You hurt me. I know. You lied to me for 5 years. I know. I don't know if I can forgive you. I know. But I'm going to try to earn your forgiveness anyway. We stood there on the sidewalk, 2 people who loved each other but had broken something essential. I need more time, I said finally. Take all the time you need. Where I am now. It's been a month since I found out about the lie. I'm still at my sister's place. Still in limbo. Daniel has been giving me space. He texts once a day, nothing pushy, just I love you, or I'm thinking of you. He's been going to therapy twice a week. He sent me a letter apologizing in detail for every lie, every manipulation, every time he let me suffer unnecessarily. I've been in therapy too. Trying to figure out what I want, who I am without the dream of motherhood, whether I can build a life that doesn't include children. Here's what I've realized. I can't get back the 5 years he stole. That time is gone. I can be angry about it forever, or I can accept it and move forward. I'm not too old to start over. 34 isn't ancient. If I decide I want children more than I want Daniel, I still have time to leave and find someone else. But I might not want to. And that's the part that's confusing me. Because despite everything, I still love him. I'm furious with him. I don't trust him, but I love him. Love might not be enough. That's what scares me most. What if I choose to stay and then resent him forever? What if I wake up at 45 and realize I gave up motherhood for someone who didn't deserve that sacrifice? I don't have answers yet. I'm taking it day by day. Daniel went through with the vasectomy last week. Sent me a photo of his post-op instructions as proof. It felt both validating and sad. My therapist asked me what I want my life to look like in 5 years. Honestly, I don't know. I thought I knew. I thought I wanted kids and a house full of noise and chaos and love. But maybe I want something different now. Maybe I want to travel. Maybe I want to focus on my career. Maybe I want to foster or mentor or find other ways to nurture. Or maybe I still want biological children and none of those alternatives will ever be enough. I don't know. And that's okay. The decision. I'm writing this update 3 months after I found out about the lie. Last week, I moved back home. Not because I've forgiven Daniel completely. Not because I've forgotten what he did. But because I decided I want to try to rebuild our marriage. Here's why. He's done the work.
He's been in therapy.
He's been honest, sometimes painfully so, about his fears and his mistakes. He got the actual vasectomy. He's shown me through actions, not just words, that he's committed to changing. I still love him. Despite everything. Despite the lies and the pain. When I imagine my future, he's still in it. I'm making peace with being childless. With help from my therapist, I'm exploring other ways to fulfill my maternal instincts. We're looking into becoming foster parents someday. I'm volunteering with Big Brothers Big Sisters. I'm finding meaning in nurturing that doesn't require biological children. But we're not magically fixed. We're in couples therapy now. We're rebuilding trust slowly. Some days are good. Some days I'm still angry and hurt, and I don't want to be in the same room with him. That's okay. Healing isn't linear. Daniel knows he's on thin ice. One more lie, one more deception, and I'm gone.
He knows that.
I know that. Our therapist knows that. But I'm giving us a chance. Because 5 years ago, I chose him over the dream of biological children. And that choice wasn't informed, wasn't fair, wasn't honest. But I'm making that choice again now. With full knowledge. With open eyes. And maybe that makes all the difference. Final thoughts. Some people will think I'm stupid for staying. That I'm wasting more time on someone who doesn't deserve it. That I should leave and find someone who wants kids. Maybe they're right. But this is my life. My choice. And I'm choosing the complicated, messy, broken thing that might be fixable over the fantasy of something perfect that might never exist. Is it the right choice? Ask me in 5 years. For now, it's the choice I can live with. And that's enough. Comments locked.
I've said what I needed to say.